Hey everyone! So it's day 2 of the fast now. 3 days since it started. It's going to get confusing. Let's just call it day 2. So it's also a Tuesday. I'm wearing the lucky red hat for Mars. It's also Mardi. And of course, the rest of my attire is black. A little bit of red at the bottom here. So yeah, I do that. I tend to try and wear a color on each day of the week that reflects the type of deity that rules the day. So Mardi, obviously Mars Day, it's an obvious one, is red. And Mekridi is a little less obvious. Or Mercury, Quicksilver, you would think silver, but it's in Japanese Suiyobi, which is water day. So the water also, Mercury is the liquid metal. So I tend to go with blue on the Wednesdays. Thursdays would be Mokuyobi, which is wood day, and Thor's day. So Thor is Jupiter. It'd be Jurdi as well as Thor's day. Both Thor and Jupiter are resemblant of Jesus. They are the middle chakra. The middle chakra would be green, so that would be the color for them. Vendredi, Venus Day, Friday, Freya's Day. I have previously considered Friday to be green, as there's a lot of links between Venus and the color green, but I have come to realize it's more likely that Venus would be blue, as Mars is red, Venus is blue, the polar opposites. It just makes a lot more sense. Then Saturn's Day, Saturday would be purple, the Sunday would be yellow, and that leaves orange for Moon Day. So they're the colors I try and wear to reflect the image of the deity, the essence of the deity. And today is the day of war, the friction that happens between two opposing sides, where in the red and black combination for war, which is also red and black, the color of Netflix. And that's what they tend to do. They try and keep you in the conflict zone and keep you at war. And a lot of their entertainment has that grisly reality vibe to it. You get a lot of entertainment in general tends to be about friction. People that like watching dramas and know there's always friction between the characters. Friction is what builds our interest. That's actually what attracts your lover in, well, they say all's fair in love and war. The love needs just as much friction to ignite as the war does. So in a way, they're almost opposites of each other, love and war. The same friction can spark both, but in two different lights. But I find that relationships don't work between purely good people that have no arguments. I've not seen it yet. I've seen people that have gone through their struggles and got to a stage where they have no arguments. These couples that have been together 25 years, not argued once. Like, yeah, but there was some initial, before you started courting, thing that would have drawn you together. Some kind of conflict. Not necessarily a war between you and your partner, but some kind of drama that went on, some kind of conflict that drew you closer together. Whether it was prizing you away from another partner, or that parents didn't like you. There's some kind of drama there to cause the friction that causes the love to be ignited. So Mars isn't really the enemy. It's not a nice thing, war. I'm not very pro-war. Did attempt to join the army once when I was 17. I went down as far as getting the 3-day selection training. Luckily, they wouldn't accept me because my hearing test I failed. They reckoned my ears weren't good enough. They put it down to me having a cold, said that I could reapply, but I was aware that it wasn't cold. I have dodgy ear canal shape, which creates, I think, a build-up of wax, or just impairs my hearing enough that I don't think things would have gotten better if I'd have gone back. But it was really fortunate because I ended up doing a lot of training for the army, so I wasn't a stranger then to doing exercise and trying to get into fitter shape so I could pull my own weight, and then didn't have to go off to other places and kill people who I'm told to kill without being given the options. I don't think that going out to war is a good idea. It seems to be the elites like to send the poor out to war. They don't like to go out fighting with their men, not like the glorified wars that you see on places like Netflix. So you get people that are abused, people that are sent out to do the dirty work. And what is the dirty work at the end of the day? The people that are giving the commands, telling people where to go, they're following orders from the information that they're receiving, and the information that they're receiving, all it takes is one evil person sitting relatively close to the top give dodgy intelligence reports. How many films do you see where they've even depicted this? That one group of soldiers stationed here have gone over to another area to attack the enemy. Turns out not to be the enemy, but your own team. You end up killing people with friendly fire. And this is something I do think that was used to thin out populations so that there were more women to go around and more children that would be employed as slaves because they wouldn't know any better. They hadn't been raised and they were too young to have had the family trades passed on to them before their family had to go off to war. So I do think that a lot of it is down to control. You keep people at war, you keep them under control. It's the whole essence of the world at the moment. Keep you all divided. As if you unite, you might decide that you don't need the government, that our minds are working just fine without being steered one way or another. But yeah, today feels a lot better than yesterday. I went out and applied for that job. I walked into the place. Turns out you can't just walk into a place and apply for a job anymore. All has to be done online. So I've gone to then do it online. And of course, when you're doing something online on someone's website, there's terms and conditions. So you've got to read the terms and conditions, make sure you know what you're signing up for. And didn't see anything suspicious in the terms and conditions, but I am aware that in order to apply for a job now, they have all your market data. That's just the way of the world now. And, absolutely every website that you seem to go onto, it has the analytics cookies, and I don't accept them. I'm sorry, I don't eat cookies. They're not even able to tell me if they're vegan cookies, so I'm definitely not eating those. But no, I tend to always go through, despite it taking an extra 5-10 minutes every time I want to look at an article. It would take a few seconds for me to get bored of and go find something else to read. I end up going through and clicking no or reject or object or whatever their options are. Some of them where you have to scroll through and individually unaccept everything that they've signed you up for. But I prefer doing that than to just be ushered into something without being aware of what I'm doing. Yeah, it's been a good day. Other than doing that, I decided I was going to go look for some oranges and some grapes. So here are the grapes. This is a 10 kilogram box. What I was aiming for was, say, 10 punnets that would have contained maybe the amount that I have in my hand. And they were selling them at £1.50 each. They're out of season at the moment, so I knew that they were going to be expensive, or more expensive than I have found them in the past. But the place that I went to is luckily a place that I go to for fruit all the time. When I asked about getting 10 punnets at £1.50 a punnet, it would have come to £15. They said they'd give me a discount, make it £12. Still wasn't overjoyed at this. It's like 3 times the amount that I pay usually in the summer. I've really got to watch money at the minute. However, they offered me this box for £25, which is a lot more than I was hoping to pay. But it was being sold at £3.99 per kilogram. And 10 kilograms, that would have been £39.90. So it was a big saving, and they are nice grapes. They're in better condition than the ones that were in the punnets. And when I did a quick measuring by eye, as I didn't have time to count every individual grape in each punnet and then count through this lot, just eyed it up and figured, why not? It's worth it. When you see the effects that grapes have on your body during a grape juice fast, you would understand that it's a good price for that amount of health for your body. The grape diet has been a thing that people have promoted for a long time. They claim it helps to clear out your lungs.
And you see the grapes look like the alveoli sacs that you get inside of the lungs. And a lot of the foods, the natural foods, they resemble the parts of the body that they help. So the grapes look like lungs. Blueberries are good for your eyes. Raspberries are good for the blood. Not entirely sure how raspberries resemble blood. But yeah, I ended up with a decent amount of grapes here. I have no idea how much juice this will make. Say, if it's 10 kilos here, then I'm going to at least come out with 5 liters of juice. By the time you take away the weight of the sticks and the skins and the pulp, the actual juice content there would probably be just under 5. So that is something that's going to take a while. It takes a few hours doing the juicing. Something that keeps you up quite late at night when you're doing it and you have work the next day. I'm quite fortunate I don't have work tomorrow. It means I've got the option of staying up tonight and doing them. Or perhaps not doing the grapes just yet, but doing the oranges first. There are, of course, going to be some dodgy, squishy ones as well. There will be the odd mouldy grape. And I find grapes that have mould on them, I like to respect the mould and let it finish its dinner in peace. I've seen some people that they think, oh, mould, well, that's just like penicillin, really? That doesn't matter, throw it in the juicer. I definitely wouldn't advise that. Don't want rotting, decaying things in your body. Your body needs to process it and remove it. It often attracts some unwanted attention from creepy critters. You don't want too many of them in your system. I'm aware that there is a lot of life that you get, a lot of the enzymes, a lot of the things inside of the fruit are living. But there is a difference between the good and the bad. The good will be doing the best to aid the body. They're good workers. They are getting something out of it, and they do a good job. And the waste product is still relatively healthy or easy to pass through your system. And there are plenty of other things that create the microbiome that are employees from the outside. These are things that your body needs. They're things that, if you have a diet that's quite heavy in meat, you have a lot of parasites that come with the food, but your body isn't broken and allowing them to stay there because it can't get rid of them. It allows them to stay because they're employed to help break down and digest the food. They're saving your life. Same as the candida that you get that is used to remove all of the mold when you get things start molding in your system. Like when you eat bread and bread products, a lot of the time with bread products, it needs to ferment to create sugar. It's the yeast that will ferment it, and then you'll end up with sugar that can be used as a fuel. So it's a bit sad that the world seems to demonize sugar as much as it does. Processed sugar, not good for your body. Too much for your body to deal with at once. Sometimes it needs to borrow things like calcium from your bones and from your teeth in order to stop the sugar from being a nuisance, causing damage because of its toxicity. And if you have natural sugars like the fructose and glucose that you get from fruits, it's not going to cause you the same problems. The excess sugar is stored as glycogen. It gets stored in your muscles. It gets stored where it's needed. It gets stored in your liver. And the grapes are one of the most sugary of the foods. I can tell because when I eat them, if I get the skin stuck in my teeth, it hurts my teeth. And I sadly got onto this diet far too late to save my teeth. My teeth were already far too damaged by the time I started taking fruit. But it has helped me to realize certain things that I would have been very skeptical of otherwise. There was Josh X talking about orange juice and how he didn't brush his teeth. He was swirling orange juice around in his mouth, and there was no problems. There's no pains or no degradation. There was another guy. It might have been Path to Wellness. I'm not entirely sure. I'll leave him in the description box, whether it was Path to Wellness or someone else that done this experiment. It was leaving a tooth in, well, three different teeth, three different glasses. I think one was left in milk, one was left in orange juice, and one was left in Coca-Cola, something along those lines. And the one that was left in the orange juice, it wasn't damaged. It wasn't broken down. The fruit sugars do not rot your teeth. There's been quite a lot of misinformation put out there about food, and not all of it is easy to detect because some of it has been ingrained into our culture for generations. Uh, there is at least ways to come back to nature. No, a lot of the times with things like grapes, you can't get seeded grapes. You have to get the seedless ones. They don't tend to sell the seeded ones anymore. And then you buy the seedless ones and they have seeds in them anyway because that's nature fighting back. You can genetically modify as much as you want. It's like putting concrete over a jungle floor. Eventually, what's underneath will grow up, break all the concrete, and once again, nature will win. Because nature is of God, and God always wins. Still, not judging, not telling you not to be a rebel. I was a rebel for many years. Enjoyed many practices, I guess, that could be considered satanic. Like drinking heavily, doing copious amounts of drugs, very questionable sex life, going off to sex clubs. And I'm not hating on my past. I had all these experiences because I needed them. Imagine sitting in heaven. You've got absolutely everything is in your hands. And you can feel eternal bliss sitting there in the stillness and the silence. But how long can you sit like that? How long could you just sit in eternal bliss before you decide, you know what? I want some drama. Let's go see what Netflix has on. Let's go fall a little bit. Let's fall back into this world of material. Let's fall back into physicality and work our way back up. Let's go through evolution all over again. And in order to go through evolution, well, you're going to need time. As without time, you're already there. You're already evolved. So to go back to the start, well, you don't have a start or a middle or an end without time. So you have to tie yourself to this physicality, this physical world. One of those with the implications that if you die in the physical world, you die everywhere. Which is part of the divine comedy, is once you die, you realize there is nowhere else to go. There is only one. We are all one. And there isn't a way of just not being. Because if you were to not be, then someone else would be. And it's the same one that has to power it. So your body will cease to exist, but you will carry on. Same as if you're playing a computer game. At some point, the computer that you're playing with, the game, will become corrupted after a long, long period of time of playing it. If it was a disc, it would get scratched. If it's an online game, then they stop creating things for it to keep it running. But the player, even though he switches consoles, switches games, it's the same player. Even in this physical world, where outside of time, we still exist. We still exist up there. except that we've decided to have an experience that requires time, and we're tied to it. That's enough staring at grapes. Let's stare at some oranges. So these are the oranges. Got these at a different store. These ones were £15 for the bucks. It worked out. I could see there was 21 in the top layer. When you mentioned the price, I skim counted, could tell that there was 21 in the top layer. It looked about 5 layers deep. I have counted it. It is 105 oranges. Didn't count them all individually, but each layer has 7 times 3, which is 21, and then 5 layers makes it 105. On top of that, there was bowls there that had about 5 or 6 in a bowl, and would cost you £1.50 each. And that was 5 in a bowl that didn't look too healthy, as this was a new box. They let me have it at the price they did because they're not going to be at the store tomorrow, and it's less for them to carry back. So I ended up with a very good deal. So it was £1.50 for about 6. By the time I got 10 of them for the £15, I'd have had about 60 oranges. There's an extra 45 here. Good number, that. It's a masculine and feminine combination, that. 60. 6 being the number of the man. And 4 and 5 is 9. 9 is the number of the woman. You got the 9 months that the mother carries the child. The 6 and 9 together is a harmonic number. And then 105 makes 6 again. Usually with fruit, you expect to get a bunch of mouldy ones in amongst the good. I haven't seen any mouldy ones in this yet. I think it's where it's a new box. It hasn't had much time. I find it quite relieving when you see mould on fruit. It means they're sincere, without wax. A lot of oranges that you get in supermarkets, they're coated with imazolil, diazomol, or thiobendazole, and shellac, which is something that is secreted from an insect, the Lacus. I've forgotten the name. But I do try and steer clear of oranges from the supermarkets. Sadly, if I want instant orange without having to juice it myself, it's when I have to rely on things like Waitrose's unpasteurized orange. Because unpasteurized means it hasn't been put in a pan and boiled up, heated up to boil all of the goodness out of it. That's why it's good to drink fresh squeezed juices. When it's pasteurized, it's basically ruined. It's been cremated, it's been killed, it's dead juice. Not to say that you can't enjoy a juice fast using what you can get hold of in the shops. I still drink juice like I would drink M&S, some cloudy apple juice, got a decent flavour, but it is sadly pasteurized. And my juicer isn't as big an industrial as a lot of people's who would squeeze down their own apples. If I cut up a bunch of apples and put it through my juicer, it will abuse the juicer. It will destroy it from the inside out, as it's far too much heavy work. So yeah, I try and have as much unpasteurized fruit juice as I can. The sacrifice for this, it means I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan or a fruitarian at all. I'm drinking orange juice that comes from orange that had shellac. But that's one of the reasons I like seeing mould. If you see mould on some of the fruit, you know it's natural, because that's what natural fruit does. And it's sincere, meaning without wax. As sine is without in Latin, and cere is the cere of wax that you would get on an envelope. Sincere was used initially for statues, I believe. Like, is it a sincere one? It's not had all of the cracks in it filled in with wax. I'd also find it very applicable to the oranges. I suppose that might be enough staring at oranges for now.
So I applied for the job that was part-time hours. It was 10 hours a week. Well, contracted 10 hours, meaning because they stiff you with a low-hour contract so they don't have to pay you that much holiday, you get to stiff them right back by saying, okay, well, I'm only contracted for these hours. I'm not doing any more. And it suits me at the moment as I'm looking for something part-time where you can have some money coming in, but also invest a lot more time into doing these videos. It's a weird one because a lot of the stuff that I talk about, a lot of the people that I listen to, it's all about how you manifest your own destiny. You got to do what you want to do in life, what you feel passionate about, and everything else comes to you. And I do feel that in a way, by not just diving headfirst into doing the videos, uh, I'm creating that doubt, and that doubt will cause me to fall. I won't manage to be successful with the leap of faith. And it does have that element of shouldn't I practice what I preach and dive in headfirst? And then the thoughts that are holding me back is you've got people watching now. You don't want to let everybody down by showing them you failing at it so that then they will think that it's not possible. Whereas plenty of other people have managed this. All you have to do is follow your passion and make sure that your passion is providing a service. Is the other key point. You have to be providing a service for people. It needs to be good for the community. Otherwise, what fruits are you producing? It'd be like the tree that Jesus told to shrivel and die, as it wasn't producing good fruits. And I think that it's all metaphorical. The one of the metaphors is the leap of faith. It's like the simple having something there to fall back on means you're bound to fail. If you were taking the leap of faith by jumping off of a ledge, walking across an invisible ledge, the magic for it would be knowing that you're not going to fall because you've recognized your own divinity. You realize how important you are, and nature will not allow you to fail at this. When you realize who you are, you can't fail. You can't take that walk with a harness and be like, yeah, well, I've got this harness now just in case, because I know certainly that I'm definitely not going to fall and die. But I've just got this harness just in case because, I need that because I don't believe that I'm not going to fall and die. So one side of my brain is the rational brain telling me you've got to do this slowly. Don't rush into it. Get something part-time, have some money coming in, have something that's going to keep you relatively afloat in the material world. So I'm not walking on water right now. I'm swimming in it, but I'm keeping afloat. And I'm aware of the fact that I could walk on it, but I'm not quite there yet. The acid experiences that I had in the past, the coping mechanisms, I think is what stops you from being able to get there, to make that jump. And the coping mechanism that I had initially was upon realizing that we are all one, the first thing I wanted to do was tell everyone, which is brilliant if you think about it. You realize you're the only person in the universe, and that everything else is a reflection of yourself. Perfectly placed, mind. These are other characters that you have been that are now interacting with you, who is the new character in this world. Prior to that, there was all of the experiences of all of those characters intermingling with each other without you being there. It's a bit like string theory. And then all of these things come together at once because there is no time for us to be making these progressions. The lack of time means that you can simultaneously be billions and billions of people at once. Not just people, but atoms, animals, everything. You can separately become everything at once, place them all in the same place and order them. When you put order to it, and that's time. Things go in chronological order from Kronos, who is Father Time. There's Saturn, and this is Saturn's world. And Saturn's world of simulation, the physical world. It means that we are in a matrix, but it's also as real as a matrix can get. I mean, how real do you think the dream world is? Well, you can say it's not real as much as you want, but when you go to sleep, you're not really in control of that. You got dreams will come to you, nightmares will come to you. You could get good at lucid dreaming, but can't really say that the dreams aren't real if they're happening. You could say they're not real because you pinch yourself, see if you're dreaming. So what's this place then? Just a dream where you can feel pain. That's Saturn's world. That's the 666, the number of the beast, the one that will give you the harsh life lessons, like pain. Pain is a harsh life lesson. And this is the land of pleasure and pain. Outside of here is eternal bliss. But you want to feel the whole drama of pleasure and pain, the polar opposites, the friction? You'll come here for that. That's part of Saturn's world. Father Time with Mother Earth. Who we think Mother Earth to be Venus? Or to be Virgo? I mean, Virgo's the Virgin Mother, the Earth sign. It's interesting the way that things are laid out. I don't claim to have the answers to everything, I just share the links that I've seen. There's so many of them that can't be ignored after a while. There's only so much that you can put in there before it becomes very mathematically unlikely for it to be not significant. Like Venus having 5 letters, and if you follow Venus going through the houses over a long period of time, a full cycle would be Venus painting this 5-petaled flower in the sky, this pentagram, as it goes into retrograde and then goes back forward. And as you follow it along the sky, same as if you follow the sun, you get the analemma, the figure 8. If you follow Venus, you get the pentagram. And Venus day, Vendredi, is day 5. Like Saturn is day 6. Saturday is day 6. And Saturn has 6 letters. These things all seem to be placed there on purpose so that you recognize the significance that the numbers have with the deities. There are numbers that are related to them, there are colors that are related to them, chakras. Everything's connected. And as things divide, you start to see how the traits are shared. Things become a lot more interesting. At least that's what I believe. That's why I'm on this path. That's why I'm making these videos. I hope you find them interesting too. Or what are you doing here? You like staring at my moustache? I do that sometimes. It's quite distracting on the videos. But today feels like a good day. A day full of optimism. A day where I'm still feeling a little bit of that yesterday feeling. You get the morning feeling just after the end of a cycle, the start of a new cycle. It's the death of the old ways. You mourn the old ways. Yesterday being Moon Day. So the Moon Day or the Monday. Don't like Mondays. That horrible feeling. The weekend is over. The Sunday has died. Now we have the Mourn Day. We're mourning the old ways. It's the new moon in Sagittarius. And now I'm going through that period of my body realizing that things aren't just going to be business as usual. Like yesterday, I was having all of the familiar things where you get that voice in your head telling you that that peanut butter jar's half finished. Can't just leave it there. Might as well finish the whole thing and then start your fast. Like anything to just delay the fast for another day. Like, oh, why don't you just have some cannabis in the evenings? You don't need to make that a part of your fast. Like, well, yeah, I kind of do because it's my choice to. I'm deciding to. But that comes with fast. It's something that all of us have to deal with. When you walk with temperance, the devil is always nearby. Think in the tarot card deck, you have the card temperance followed by the devil. As soon as you start walking with temperance, you're on the path. You're on that straight and narrow path that's going to lead you to your divinity. You need to be pulled off that path as quick as possible. Create some friction on the path. Like the devil visiting Jesus on his 40 days in the desert. Like, you are the Lord. You could turn this rock into a loaf of bread. And Jesus just like, not today, Satan. Get behind me. Because that's how you have to be. You have to be the leader. And Satan isn't exactly evil. Satan is just playing the devil's advocate. It's like an AI that is there to help aid our evolution. But it's still a very difficult AI to overcome. It makes this appear very much like a chess game. If you ever play chess against the AI, they cheat. Nah, they are difficult to beat though. It requires a certain level of skill to get past the AI that has been set up. And that's something I notice as we've been heading more and more into the age of Aquarius. The Aquarius people that I know love their gadgets. They love AI. They love all of this. Speak to their curtains and their curtains open. Speak to the lights and the lights turn on. Which I find is quite entertaining. Because that's the two separate ways that you go if you're an Aquarius. You either go to the waters of truth, or you go to the latest advancements in what is possible. Interesting thing about the age of Aquarius is where it places us on having deities. It does seem like for a long time you go around believing in an external deity, and now we're moving into the waters of truth that we reconnect with. So, say Adam was cut off from God, Adam was divorced from God, and you have the waters of truth, which would be God, as God is the one, and the first element is hydrogen. And to separate the waters from the waters is also separating God from man. Adam was called Adam because it means red, blood, earth, but also a dam. When you dam water, it blocks water from one part to another part. So he was cut off from the supply, cut off from the eternal truth. And if we're moving into the age of Aquarius, now it's almost like we've managed to escape time because we're no longer part of the physical world. And we managed to join the waters of truth and become one with the Father, which is quite good because Aquarius is the 11th star sign, which is a one and a one. So we can be one with one as we return to our divinity. And a one next to each other look like the pause symbol, which would be perfectly appropriate as once we reach that divinity, time itself will stop. And I think once this all sinks in for me, that'll be when I stop telling people about my journey. Hopefully enough has been left at that point that whoever I am, or wherever I'm watching from, could be from any one of you, enough information will already be laid out so that we can all make our way. So that's the age that we're entering. I think it's a good place to stop the video. So thanks for watching. Let's put this on pause. Stay tuned for more.